Appreciate all y'all hanging out with me. Appreciate the stars. Definitely appreciate that. Make sure I hit that like button for me. Them reactions definitely help me out. Hype button, all that good stuff. So we continue in from yesterday. This is the track we made yesterday live. And so we just kind of shedding over it right now, just seeing what we can do with it solo-wise. You know, it is one of those deceivingly tricky forms. get them reactions for me makes a huge difference. So again, this is a track I made yesterday using just the Quimera, which is this white synth pedal here, Future Impact, the Enzo X, and also the iPad. So we're going to break a little bit of that down here. How do we get to all this from a bass pedal board? So as the title, as the title suggests, we'll be going over some of the MIDI routing and how I get this done without, being able to use my bass and MIDI controllers, because both of these are on, right? So, and like I said, all of this, with the exception of the iPad itself, even the and the CME H2 MIDI Pro, all of this is powered by the power supply of the pedal board. So I made it very simple for myself to get this pedal board packed up and up and running when I need to, along with the MIDI controllers and my bass. All right, so first off, we got to start off with the signal chain. Hello, good morning, everybody. And of course, welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations, Effects, Tutorials, Demos, and Review. And subscribe if you haven't already, if you like this kind of content, this and that. So we'll start up with the Empress compressor here. Empress compressor is running into the Electro Harmonics tri-parallel mixer. And this pretty much allows me to run 3 different synth pedals simultaneously without them running into each other, like in series. So for instance, later on in the board, I have the Pog 3 running into the Rabbit sitar and then into the V256 vocoder, the big orange pedal there in the corner. Those are running in series. These are running in parallel, meaning it takes my dry signal, right, and splits it up into different. I can easily take my dry signal, run into the Quimera, or I can run it to the Enzo X. And I can mix those any way I would like to using the parallel tri-mixer. So, and when I don't want my dry signal and I want to just use straight MIDI, I can turn the sends off. So the send is pretty much sending my dry bass signal out to these 3 synth pedals. The Future Impact, V4 VIP, the Quimera, and the Enzo X. That's on the board. And all of those are running mono. So from here, we are now able to mix those and our dry signal. So as you can hear, I still have my dry signal on. Future Impact. While while I still have the iPad running as well. I hear the piano from the iPad. So basically coming out of here into the Pog 3, Ravage sitar over to the V256 vocoder. Let me sit my seat up a bit here. I'm sitting way low right now. All right, it's a little better. All right, so from the V256 vocoder in the corner, I'm running into the Tone X1 out of here, and I'm using the Tone X1 as the audio interface for the iPad. So I have Sample Tank. So, so I have the Tone X1 running as a stereo audio interface. I don't need to add any extra audio interface to my pedal board. Right there, bam. And I still have all my preamps available, and the preamps are not affecting what's coming out of the iPad. On the iPad, I'm running Sample Tank, Neo Soul Keys 2, and Pure Soul Platinum 2. The Pure Soul Platinum is actually free. So if you're looking for some free synths for your iPad or your iPhone, it's a great full feature synth. Excuse me. Only thing you really got to pay for is the presets. But, you know, if you get the Neo Soul Keys app, buy that is what I suggest. Get that. I think it's about $15. So that's going to run you 15. The Pure Synth, you can get that for free and use the free version because it gives you all the features of the synth free, and you can save and everything. And then Sample Tank, if you get something like an iRig Keys IO or something like this, it'll come with Sample Tank along with a couple other pieces of software. All right, so, and I use the AUM app in here, which was $20 to combine all of those apps. So I actually have 2 instances of the Pure Synth app. Let me. So that's Sample Tank. Pure Synth. For a free synth on an iPad? That's insane. Mind you, I can sustain that, play over it if I wanted to. Right? And with the AUM Mixer app, I can mix that. As well as I can run multiple instances of the Pure Soul app, right? I mean the Pure Synth Platinum 2 app, right? Still have my regular bass sound here. You know, if I wanted some bass synths there, I can also come in here and change anything I would like to change. And it gives you quite a few presets for free, so you know, you can get a good sense of what it's capable of. So that's 2 instances of it running at the same time. And that also means, because I'm coming out of the Tone X1 stereo, into the Mercury X. So I'm running everything else from the Tone X on is stereo, the Mercury X into the New X dual loop stereo, and then into the Canvas stereo line isolator. And so one of my favorite things about the routing that I have here is I don't need another set of XLR cables, right? So I'm only taking up 2 inputs out of the mixer with this entire setup, all the synths, all the synths I have in the iPad and piano and EP that I run out of here. So running the EP. And I can mix it all together if I would like to. Sorry about that, folks. And I have it all running in the same reverb, same room, so I don't have it all sounding all crazy. So Enzo X. Quimera. And I can just adjust the overall volume of those 3 synths and the individual volume. So that's the Future Impact, the Quimera, the Enzo X, as well as the iPad running there. So if I say I wanted a little less Enzo X, a little more Quimera, I can even EQ them a bit, say they too bright. If I wanted them brighter. So to give the Future Impact a little boost there. And I can run all of that. I still have my bass sound in here. So if I wanted to say let's add a pad from over here, right? So still got access to everything I would need access to with my actual bass sound if I wanted to. And my bass is also, see, running through the room. Now, if I wanted to clean the bass sound, I can just get that right. reshape my bass here. If I need that to be clean, of course, I can change that here. And I can do all this with the foot switches as well. So I'll explain the MIDI routing in a minute, but just kind of showing through all of that synth stuff. Still got my nice dry bass sound. Right? So, and that's literally 4 different things going on. The Quimera, Enzo X, Pure Synth, and the sample tank. No, Neo Soul keys. So all that without, I'm not going to say without breaking the bank too much, but at the same time, when you really consider how much an actual brand new synth, like the actual full, if you were to buy like a Motif or a Yamaha Mode DX or whatever, or Mod X, whatever they call that thing, which is, they cost a lot more. You know what I'm saying? So yes, when you're adding up the price of this stuff, it does cost a bit, but you got to invest into your sound, invest into your music as much as anything else. You want to make sure that you have the ability to ultimately create whatever your mind, whatever comes in your head, sound wise or creative wise. So it's not just learning how to play the instrument. It's more than just, that's cool. You want to have a great tone and all that. But ultimately, you're going to need more than just the sounds. I mean, you're not going to necessarily need them. You can always put yourself in a box of just the natural bass sounds, right? Because you can get a lot out of a natural bass. Right? And I actually did a whole album with just my bass and effects pedals, no MIDI. It's before I had any of the synth pedals. I just took octavers and effects and made an entire eight track album. It's called All Bass Creations over on Patreon. Over on Bandcamp. Bandcamp. It's on the screen somewhere, I believe. Oh no, the Bandcamps. Yeah, allbasscreations.bandcamp. Yep. Check that out when you get a chance. But all right. So meanwhile, all right, let's see how I manage all this stuff while I'm playing live, because that's what's important, right? This isn't just a studio setup. This is, I probably won't have an extra MIDI controller here, but I'll probably at least have one MIDI controller in this setup with the iPad, plus my bass when I'm doing solo gigs, or, sometimes I'm playing key bass and you know, mixing it up. This allows me to integrate all that stuff into one rig and don't have to switch nothing around. All right, so you got the signal flow of the audio, right? We got the power, how you powering everything. So let's talk about the actual, how we're getting MIDI to all these different pedals, because I can come down here and I have different presets set up. So if I need something like an octave down, I can get that done. Ew, that's hitting. Octave down, if I need octave up. If I need just like my raw bass sound. All that's pre-programmed so I don't have to fiddle over things. Or if I wanted to, say, change the presets on the Enzo X, so all this is just available to me. All right, so with that, underneath the board is a CME H4 MIDI Pro. This is a H2 MIDI Pro. It's just one MIDI in, one MIDI out with a, you know, up to 8 USB MIDI devices you can control with this one. The one down bottom is the bigger brother of this one. Has 2 of each, 2 MIDI in, 2 MIDI out, along with the USB ports, and it is connects wirelessly to the rest of, you know, other things like the MIDI jack. So the iPad is actually on MIDI, you know, so wireless MIDI. So it's not, for the MIDI part of it, it doesn't need to be connected to the board, just for the audio interface, you know, using the Tone X1. So, all right, cool. So running into there, I have the 2 MIDI controllers on USB MIDI, right, being powered by the board as well. So the CME H4 MIDI Pro is powering both of these, along with is being powered by the Canvas Power 15 that's powering the rest of the board. So I don't need extra cables, none of that stuff. And it is MIDI, because it's USB, it's power and the actual USB cable all in one. So simplifies that. Then I have 2 different MIDI paths running. First MIDI path is the NuX dual looper running into the Mercury X and then the V256 vocoder. The second MIDI path is the Enzo X into the Pog 3, then the Future Impact running into the Quimera. So, all right, and then running into one of the inputs, I have a physical cable. Even though I could do wireless MIDI, I have the physical cable here connected to the H4 MIDI Pro underneath the board of the. But this is a Luminite Graviton M1, stores my presets for the different pedals, so I don't have to, you know, tap dance during the show. I can just hit the foot switches that I have down here on the floor and control different things. So, and that's running off of the USB power coming from the, what is that, the Canvas Power 15. Down here on the floor, I have a MIDI captain along with the additional 10-foot switch controller for the Graviton M1. So I have a total of 20 switches here on the floor. Actually, 22. I lied. It's another controller on the floor that's the extension of the dual loop stereo. So total of 22 foot switches here on the floor to control the entire board. You know, and also have this beautiful touch screen here, which displays which preset I'm on. Also allows me to, you know, easily program all my, you know, MIDI into different things, either songs. I can program it into shows. From here, I can set up everything, light shows, everything from one Graviton M1. And they're only like $150. $20 to replace the screen. You can do it yourself. So I think those are very worthwhile investments. It's been very good to me so far. And the foot switches are connected wirelessly to the pedal board as well, so they don't have to be plugged in or anything, and they weren't running off of wireless batteries. Everything except for the NUX loop stereos extension pedal. All right. So I think that's everything explained, like the path wise, but the purpose again is to just make performance as easy as possible. So I have down here, I really don't have to have extra expression pedals ran to the different pedals because I have a lot of them on MIDI. I pretty much can have one expression pedal and it'll control all the pedals, and then I can have different presets. I can program into it what I want the expression pedal to do. So, you know, it's not really a need to carry around 4 or 5 expression pedals. I just carry one expression pedal plus the foot switches, and that pretty much allows me a lot of control over the board. Now, when you see me grabbing at the board, that's mostly just to quickly get to something, and maybe I don't feel like switching the foot switches to the different page or something, or I don't want everything else to change. I just want that to change by itself. And I also have that set up on certain pages where I can just change presets. But yeah, so. And yeah, I won't be typing in nobody's chat. You can forget that. Like, I'm a play and type. Come on now. People be learning. I don't know where these people come from on sometimes. He asks me weird stuff. My headset's not working. Can you not play and type? I don't understand why you would want me to play. I mean, just type and not play. That's crazy. It's the wrong live stream for that. I've never heard of that. What is that? Is that a pedal or a synth? I've never heard of that. What is that? Parting from Old Blood Noise Endeavors. Is that Emily the harpist? Like the YouTube Emily the harpist? That's crazy. How you doing? I'd love to collab with you. That's really you. That's crazy. I actually watched quite a few of your videos. That's amazing. Appreciate that. I'll reach out to them and see what I can do. So ultimately, when you're having your setup like this, you want it to be as easy as possible to perform with. You want to be able to switch, especially as a bassist. I might be able to, do all this, but I want to be able to get from thing to thing very easily, especially when creating. So when I was doing this track right here, it would have been much harder to get to these sounds. But when you're creating, you want to just go the same way you do on stage. And I think it's even a good habit of just practicing. If you are going to loop, right, you need to practice looping at home, not on stage. Like, you want to minimize mistakes, try to get it on the first time, and which might mean simplifying certain parts, It's not always making things crazy. So, all together, let's put some piano with some Quimera. Let's see what we got on the Future Impact here. So, the hardest part is setting all this up. It may take you a while to even acquire enough pedals and setup to do this. And granted, I have the honor of, being a YouTuber and you guys supporting me. It helps me get a lot of this gear through your support of the Patreon. I do reinvest the Patreon money into new pedals for reviews because I'm not, not the biggest YouTuber at the moment. I have to buy a lot of gear, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of this gear I buy myself. Like 90% of this pedal board I bought myself, you know what I'm saying? So it's not me giving you guys just whatever. It's me giving you the honest truth, and I put my money behind it. So if you see it up here, it's worth having. That's the hard part. So let's talk about how we can mix and match things to get different sounds. Let's peel some layers back. Let's start with the Quimera. One of them. So I'm gonna actually put my bass down for a sec. This way we can get to it, huh? So Right now, I just have up one of my presets. Let me switch to... Quimera's, that sampling is insane. Check out some other presets here. This one I made of like kind of like water, I guess. Yeah, none of these pedals are modulation pedals specifically. They all can do modulation, but none of these are dedicated modulation pedals. What you're looking at is really a bunch of synth pedals and octave pedals, things like that, and then a few tone shaping things along with reverb and looping. So basically compressor, mixer, synth, organ module / octaver, pretty much a synth pedal. I would look at this like a pad synth pedal, pretty much a synth pedal. It's a vocoder pedal. Everything. This does everything. Octavers. What else? Octaver, of course, reverbs, delay, but it also has distortions, modulations, and other things in there. And then you got the Tone X1 here. That's most of the preamp that we have running. So this actually has modulations, drives, compression, noise gate, all that stuff built into it as well. But I'm only using it for the preamps section. And then you got looper pedal there. And then this is just the canvas line isolator to make sure you guys are getting pristine audio. So let's dive into some of these different sounds. Been able to make some organs. So some patches are louder than others intentionally. You know, some of these are more pads. So I don't necessarily want them too in your face. All right, let's see something real quick. What we got on here? See what we got on the looper real quick. So, give me 1 second, guys. That's not it. Give me 1 second, guys. Somebody's at my door. I think I'm gonna stay with that club feel. I was kind of like that. Now, I hope that they add the ability to control the preset changes. Well, let me get this up. Okay. I feel I'll be creating stuff and forget I created. This whole groove actually was created with just sample tank. So that's another reason to get it. But yeah, essentially, this sound was that's where I created that sound from on the Quimera. Alright, my volume is so low over here. There's even a keyboard type sounds with it. I'm gonna have to boost this up. Why is this so low? Yeah, that's a different reverb there. So that's like an EP sound I was able to create because you got samples on here. The sampling on here is it doesn't give you, it's not like an MPC sampling with the Quimera. It's more like a lo-fi version of whatever you put into it, but in a good way. Like this is an EP sample. Super bright like that. Let's see, let's go back. Which one was that? This is the actual piano. That's an EP as well. Different sample. So I can try to tame it there a little bit. But a lot of that you can do it several ways with the filter. If you're using one, like I'm not even using a filter right now. So if I wanted to track some of those ultra high frequencies, and that's even without. You can also get the ADSR involved there as well. So you got options. That's what key tracking completely engaged. See, it gets way darker down here. So yeah, the Quimera is very interesting in that way. It pretty much, you can just sample whatever, you know, any sound. It can be any random sound, running water. Doesn't matter. The sound of you beating on the desk, and it'll replay it for you over and over again, or in different ways. For instance, let's see, that's enough of that EP sound. I ain't even gonna say it. Yes, I am. That way I ain't gotta do it again. This is an organ I made. You can also use a filter here to just tame a little bit of that. Get out a little drive too. That's a little too much. Maybe not there. Do it from over here. Maybe even get that a little more chorus. Might need a little bit more resonance. Matter of fact, let me try a different filter. Bring that volume up. See what we got here. Let's bring that up. This is without the Mercury X doing the tremolo. Almost get you to church there. So the point is basically it gets you really close to stuff without getting you the exact sound, so which ultimately gives you a different palette for the same type of sounds, if that makes sense. So for instance, this is an organ wavetable, as well as the organ I guess waveform, just the regular wave shape there, mixed together. So I actually like the Quimera a lot, if you can't tell. It really does have some really great surprises with it. Even on the synth bass side of the game. And I've actually created that sound on 3 of the devices here, so let's check those out while we're here. On the Future Impact. Yeah. And on the the Enzo X as well. It's actually one of my favorite presets on all of these pedals, because you can, so this is the, turn this up a bit. That's the Quimera Enzo X. Let's give her some volume here. There we go. That's the Enzo X, Future Impact. So, of course, the Future Impact V4 VIP is modeled after vintage monophonic octavers, so it's completely monophonic, while the Quimera is polyphonic all the time. So, meaning I can always play chords with it. Got the Enzo X. of those could work great for your synth-based rig. You know what I'm saying? All of those, and you're not going to go wrong with any of these. Even the POG 3 can be. A lot of people don't really talk about it. The POG 3 is actually an organ MIDI organ module, and it sounds amazing. I mean, sounds tremendous. Let's see. Let's get to a little bit of it. Let's get to the preset here. We got to change this to channel 1. You got the POG 3. The other key to your MIDI setup is going to be utilizing the different channels of MIDI. So you can have basically one preset in something like this, press it, and it'll send out multiple messages throughout your pedal board to turn things on and off or different presets. It makes your life so much easier. Trust me. So let's get to this. This is the POG 3. And of course, it's always polyphonic as well. Say you wanted that organ type synth bass. And it doesn't sound bad as an organ either, you know, just using it straight up as an organ. You do have to typically bring it up a few octaves. So, yeah, whatever you want to do with it. It's got a lot of options. See, use copy with going on then experimentation from the get you. That's what I like right now. Yeah, practice. It helps everybody out. So we all on the same journey, bro. Or man, you know, sis, whatever. I can't really tell some of y'all screen names. I can't always tell which one you are, but I definitely appreciate that. And, you know, always everything with music is just a matter of time. If you put in enough time, enough reps, You will get it. And that's including, so every part of music I've had to shed, whether it be compositions, I do film scoring and stuff as well as my own original compositions for myself as an artist. I teach. I do these preset packs for you guys. I also, do product reviews and things like that. Every single part of that has taken me time, and all the different instruments I've learned, have taken me time because I've played more instruments than you've seen me do online. But every part of that takes some time, takes practice. You won't get it overnight. Remember that. You're not going to get it overnight. Even when I first got into these synth pedals, I feel like a lot of people give up on these synth pedals before they ever have a chance to really learn how to use a synth. It's not the pedal. Sometimes you don't know if you haven't owned a synth before. How do you know how to work a synth pedal properly? You probably don't. So instead of saying it doesn't work and just giving up, give it some time. Look up some synth videos on YouTube. It's plenty of them. Synth tutorials. A lot of these pedals have the same parameters as a lot of the older synth, physical synths like a Moog or ARP 2600 or Juno. These pedals have enough parameters where you can get really close to these sounds using the pedals. If not spot on, the Future Impact can clone those vintage mono synths. I mean, it literally does it perfectly, especially even when you're playing with your bass, especially with the upgraded tracking. But they're all capable of doing a lot. And if you give up on them too soon, or you're always worrying about the new pedal that's coming out, don't always look at the new pedal as something to replace your old synth, especially with synths. These are all, I can tell you now, these are going to be classics. These are going to be classic synths. You're going to hear these on a lot of records from a lot of different people. They just sound amazing. You know what I'm saying? You just give them some time, learn how to work a synth, then tracking. So let's talk about that. The other part of these synth pedals is the tracking aspect. So that's what most people can't get over. So for one, each of these have different parameters to help you hone in your tracking with them. So for the Future Impact, right? Some of the first things you're going to want to set is if you in the software, if you haven't already upgraded to the new firmware, use the 0 latency tracking. That's going to give you way better tracking than the other two modes. Then you want to set this input level. You want to set it so it just peaks, and when you're playing like the initial note, it hits that red, but then after you sustain in the note, it just sits around that yellow. So that'll help you there. And then the note on and off levels, those are going to determine when it's firing. If it's triggering too much, then you're going to mess with the note on level. If you're going to be playing more, want the sound to play more staccato, you're going to want to have a higher note off level. So for instance, what are my settings here? Did this change my settings? It did. Okay, so I typically keep the note on level around 30 and keeping the note off level around 50, maybe even 55. I keep it pretty high. But yeah, so that's the tracking for this Future Impact V4 VIP. Now, Quimera, come over here, hit that level / tracking there. I like to have the synths, this first category, I like to have that around 25, somewhere around there. Pretty high on the compression, probably about 75% of all the way up. And then the harmonic mix, I usually keep around 25 as well, 25, 30, just so it doesn't change the sound of the synth too much when I'm playing it with my bass versus playing it with the MIDI controller. So let me grab my bass real quick. All right, so I'm not quite hitting that. And if I just want to hit a synth. That's the Quimera. Future Impact. We need to redo our settings real quick. And we're also going to get to the Enzo X as well. Tracking parameters. Let's take that there. Come out of there. Bam. I don't have mine set to auto for a reason. Let's go. They also had an automatic between the MIDI. Automatic mode between the MIDI and pitch detection. I prefer to just switch it myself. So right now, also fret rep, so and it does track really fast. That's the Future Impact. Just got to make sure I'm hitting that threshold. That tracking done got real fast. Oh, appreciate you, my man Big Son O. Why is my stuff coming through so late? Yeah, she came through. I appreciate the love, you know. Hey, you know, I appreciate being visible at all. I appreciate that, you know. Trying to make my way up, but I appreciate when they stop past and show me love as well. So I definitely appreciate her chiming in. Check out that, I guess, I'm not sure if that's a pedal or just a regular synth that she recommended there. And thanks for the jewels. I appreciate you. And it tracks really well. See this. Future Impact. The crazy thing, I can play them all three at once, something I couldn't do before because they all need your dry bass signal to track. So when I would have them all running in series, I could only play one at a time. But now, you know, if I want to use different sounds together, that's a possibility. Future Impact tracking at the same time. I could change either, bring one back if I wanted to, or bring it up. Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate that, bro. So, I gotta stop saying bro. I don't know if all y'all bros. If you having females on here, I don't want to leave out alienate the women in the channel. I appreciate all the female bassists or instrumentalists in general that stop through the channel. Show the channel love as well. We gotta get y'all a little bit deeper in here first off. But I appreciate the compliment there. So let's get a little future input. Let's see what we got on the Enzo X. So with the Enzo X, you're going to want to pay attention to the note persist value. And I typically like to keep it between 4 and 11 seconds for bass. Works out fine for me. And then I actually like to build, and this is a tip for all of these synths. One thing that'll save you a lot of frustration is get a MIDI controller and build a lot of the sounds with the MIDI controller, and then adjust the tracking parameters to go with the sound itself. So for instance, for me to get this right, in order for me to get that same exact sound, I gotta have that going there. Get a little more. I've been seeing people complain about the Enzo X tracking and trying to make it seem like the Quimera has better tracking for single lines. It doesn't. Not for bass, not at all. But I do like the polyphonic tracking on it, on the Quimera. The Enzo X tracks amazing polyphonically as well. Again, you cannot use the same value for the note persist, which is the main thing that's tracking everything, for everything. It doesn't work that way. You know, it'd be nice if I could set it and forget it, but in reality, you will need to tweak that note persist per preset. That's why they allow you to save that value per preset. It's part of it. It's part of the game. All right, you got that? Then you got it. So this is what I was saying. It doesn't always. Let me check it out. Doesn't always track the same. A little less. That's the Quimera. See if I add some more of the harmonic content to it. But the more that harmonic content you add, the less like the actual patches sounds. That's none of it mixed in. But then it doesn't track as well. So, you know, I prefer to use the Quimera for chordal playing. See, even then, it's loud. So it doesn't track as well playing single lines as it does polyphonically. So I prefer it personally for the chords. You know, really, to be honest, you get the best results out of any of these synths when you're using a MIDI controller to do it. That's when you really get the best out of all of them. You know, but, you know, tracking wise, all of them can do a decent job at what they're kind of intended to. That's the Quimera. You can just get stupid sounds with that joint. But anyway, I prefer using the Enzo X or the Future Impact for bass synth type things. Don't play with the Future Impact, yo. That joint fire. Now I will say, the Future Impact likes the when you pick down here a little bit more. Just nasty. I can bring that back just a little bit. Bring it up here. Like swing. And the Future Impact does like a little bit more compression than the Enzo X does. And see, that's when I would bring this note value. See if we can get this. I keep forgetting it prefers slides versus hammer on, hammer offs. You know what I'm saying? So it prefers versus. See, it's hard to get that second note out of there, but if you slide it, it'll get right to it. So, you know, I would suggest with the Future Impact, stay away from the hammer-ons and hammer-offs while using, if using more sliding, that typically gets you better results. So you slide, you either you're gonna articulate it or you're gonna slide it. Why is that dissipating so fast? Oh. There we go. Let me set this up properly. A little more volume here. And let's get back to there. So you can get all of them. You can get it to track really well. Sometimes you got to play around with the tracking parameters, things like that, depending on what you're going to be doing. But for sure, you can get them to track very well. Let me go to my synth bass channel here. So, tracking wise, Enzo X Future Impact will completely do you just fine, while you are on a gig. You don't really have to have a MIDI controller. You can easily just play them like that, And then you still got things like the POG 3 if you wanted your octave down stuff. Also, the Enzo X, for those of you that only use octavers sparingly, like Enzo X is going to have an amazing octave, monophonic and polyphonic octaver in there, along with an arpeggiator mode and mono and polyphonic synths. Right, all of those modes are in there, along with some of the best modulations I've heard. My favorite modulations right now are the ones on the Enzo X, and that, out of all the modulations, pedals, all that stuff, Enzo X does it amazingly for me, and has the most versatile versions. It's only giving you one chorus, one phaser, but the amount of things you can do with it makes it extremely flexible. Then they have some of the best drive and filters in there. I love the drive and filter section in the Enzo X. And it's actually the same drive. They call it a preamp section and filter section in the Mercury X. And you get one of my favorite algorithms from the Mercury X on the Enzo X. You get the Prism algorithm, which is my favorite algorithm in the world, favorite reverb sound in the world, actually. So you get that on there, full stereo echo as well, left and right channel. You can sync them to different rhythmic values or, all that different type of stuff. It's just so much you can do with this one unit, and you can, of course, play those sounds with your bass or your guitar, and you'll be just fine. So this same sound, tracks very well. If I want more bottom, and I can still add in my dry signal here. You can hear how fast that tracking is up on it. Like, you can hear that. So if you're not getting good tracking out the Enzo X, it's probably how you have it set up. Might be how you EQ on your bass. It might be a number of things, but it's for daggone sure not the unit. It's not the unit. It's not the Enzo X. It tracks just fine. And I know that's a problem for some people, but tracking is always a fine art with any of these synth pedals. It really is something you have to experiment with individually with each pedal. Now, only exception I've run into with that would be like electroharmonic stuff, but electroharmonic stuff tends to be more effects, a combination of effects that's put on your sound. Like, for instance, like the Mel 9, if you look at some of the old Bill Rupert videos, he actually showed you how to make a lot of those Mel 9, Key 9, synth, and all those different types of sounds with the individual electroharmonics pedals. So one thing that excited me about the Mel 9, I have a Mel 9 over here, was it meant I didn't have to have 50 pedals to get to that string sound. You know, you can get to a string sound with just effects. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but you can take octavers, distortion, and a little bit of filtering and some things like that, and some reverb, and ultimately make you a string sound, you know, or make or an orchestral sound if you needed to. But it does take quite a bit of work, you know what I'm saying, compared to just getting the Mel 9 and turn it on. So, but yeah, I love these pedals. Electroharmonics does have some really great tracking though. That's why I love this Pog 3, you know. But and the Ravi Sitar V256 vocoder tracks exceptionally well, you know, and even that's MIDI capable. So I can play it with my bass or I can play it with a MIDI controller, and all I have to do is hook up a nice little microphone to it and go on, and now I got my vocoder for anything. You know, I kind of made, you can really look at this pedal board as like a modular synth in a way, versus, or like a modular keyboard in a way. It's combining different synth types. Like if I needed a vintage monophonic synth module, if I needed an organ module / best octaver ever module, sitar module, you know, vocoder, all these would be parts of a keyboard or different things. That's the way I kind of look at it. Quimera, lo-fi synth. Enzo X, hi-fi synth. I actually have another Enzo X right here over on the desk as well. So, you know, you can I look at them all as different things. I don't look at them all as, you know, in competition with each other. They are completely different sounds, completely different things. If you create the same synth on each of them, it's going to sound different on each of them. So, you know, I would worry about, you know, a lot of people, they ask me which one is better, this or that. It's not. And it's, like I said, again, it's not about that. But I will say, if you have 15 chorus pedals, why can you only have one synth pedal? I don't understand that. A lot of people have these redundant pedals. Get rid of some of the redundant pedals and get some synth pedals. It's going to make you way more flexible in the game. You're going to have way more sounds, actual sounds that you can get to on stage. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So let's see what else we got. So Enzo X. Theoretically, if I wanted to mix sounds together, let the Future Impact handle the bottom, do a high pass, pretty much on the So you even got the ability to use two different synths at the same time that are tracking pitch all from one bass input, and just having something like a tri-parallel mixer. These about $150. So, but these are great investments. Sometimes utility pedals are some of the best investments you can make as well. You know, MIDI, things like the tri-parallel mixer that allow you easily to do things that you may have to do very extensive routing and all this extra stuff to try to do. Just get something like that, and it saves you a ton of headache and gives you some additional features like EQ, and you can flip the phase on whatever sound that you might, if you need to. I don't know why I kind of like it. I don't know why. I don't really like the bass synth stack too much. I try to do all the stacking when I make the sound, but maybe something like this. this is where the Enzo X So you can mix synths this way, and you still, things like the Future Impact and the Quimera still allow you to output the MIDI that is tracking as well. So if I wanted to, play these synths in the iPad with the output of the Future Impact from the MIDI or the Quimera, I just run a MIDI cable from either one of those to the iPad's H2 MIDI Pro that I'm using over here, and voila, nothing crazy. Or I could add another MIDI device to it, wireless MIDI. I forgot the other ones on. To be honest, I would rely on the Enzo X's tracking more than any of these pedals. Other than like the excluding the electro-harmonics pedal, because like I said, those are usually a slightly different deal than these. These are full-featured synth pedals, so the tracking needs are different than octavers, what I'm saying, per se. But octavers and stuff like that, most effects are either gain or delay in different versions of that. And that includes modulations and drives. Drives is gain. Modulations are delays. So are reverbs. Even compression deals with gain reduction. It's all these different effects is pretty much either gain and even saturation is gain. So these essentially, once you realize that, you'll stop buying so many modulation pedals and drive pedals and all this. It's a lot of it's pretty much very similar things, that normal people can't really hear. But guess what normal people can hear? The difference between sounds. They can hear the difference between those. So yeah, got a Henry Hancock vibe. Appreciate it. You getting Getting some of the ladies in the house, bass players, instrumentalists. You guys are needed. Trust and believe. Fellas, appreciate y'all too. Appreciate everybody that is taking the time to watch the live stream, hang out with me for a bit. I know I be on here for like 2-3 hours at times, so I know it's hard to stick around the whole time, but for those of you guys that faithfully support everything I got going on, thank you. Make sure y'all hit that like button, by the way, if you haven't already. Hit the like button and subscribe. That way you don't have to miss this stuff. And if you want any of my preset packs or to support the YouTube channel every month, you can do that over on Patreon. But we got packs for the Future Impact, the Enzo X, the Mercury X, 20-something different preset packs for the preamp, bass preamp packs for the Tone X1. And we also have preset packs for the C4 Synth and Zoom B6, MS60B Plus, and MS70 CDR Plus. So check all that stuff out over on Patreon. Appreciate y'all so much. And, of course, if you find this information useful, hit that Cash App Super Chat. I greatly appreciate you guys. So, all right, back to it. So, the one that does things the most seamlessly is probably going to be the Enzo X in terms of tracking, going from tracking to MIDI. The one that you're going to get the least amount of difference in what you're doing is probably going to be the Enzo X. And then next up would be the Future Impact. Now, Future Impact sounds for the vintage bass synth it just can't be outdone. So even there, it does like a very particular EQ. That's better. And you see even right there, that's a prime example of just fixing your EQ just a little bit, whether it be rolling your bass off just a little bit. You might have either not enough upper mids or maybe too much upper mids and it's tracking too much. You may be having too much high end on, your signal, and that may be causing you some problems. So experiment with the different tracking parameters, including your EQ and volume of your bass. Sometimes it's a volume issue if it keeps missing notes or things like that. But depending on what you're doing, for the future impact, it likes more of a flatter low end, a little bump in the mid range, upper mids, and it'll take some flat highs, or you can roll them off. Either way, it doesn't care. Quimera likes you to roll off that bass, boost that mid range, while the Enzo X, for the most part, it likes a boosting. When you're playing bass synth sounds like this, if I drop out my low end, it's not giving me all the low end of the sound. But if I give it some low end, it sounds very. Might even add some more. So it gets you the same exact sound that way. Just adding a little bit of bass boost, just a little bit. Boosting your upper mids. Actually, I got my upper mids pretty flat. So inevitably, experimenting with your EQ, the tracking parameters, and all that stuff is what's really going to allow you to hone in each pedal's potential with the pitch detection or the tracking. While when you're using a MIDI controller, you forego that altogether. You just actually get to hear what the actual unit is supposed to sound like. And especially for the Enzo X, I found that very beneficial. It took me some time to be able to go between things. In terms of the Enzo X, I had to spend quite a bit of time learning the best practices for tracking. Appreciate you, Alex, for subscribing. Thank you. Appreciate the sub. But yeah, so that EQ settings for every synth pedal or an octaver makes a huge difference. I'll show you an example with the octaver settings. Let me go to octave down. Yep, ain't got no dress in it. Right? So if I roll my bass off, but if I put my bass flat, if I boost the bass, just different sounds. If I roll off my mids, it's left with all just the bass. If I boost my high end, if I roll off the high end, all mids. So makes a huge difference. Even if you take out the all makes a huge difference, your EQ. So that's one of my biggest tips for today. Check how you're EQing with these different pedals, especially when they're new to you. You're going to need to experiment. Some pedals the majority of pedals like a boost in the high mids for bass. So on my bass, that'll be, I think I'm boosting around 800. And I'm also on the Empress compressor boosting around 2.3K on there. And that's been helping along with the compression on there. And typically I'm getting anywhere from a 2 to a 6 to 1 ratio on the compression on the Empress compressor. Now the Enzo X does not like when you give it a completely compressed squash sound. And it don't like when you running them in parallel either. They don't like that. It's like either pick you going to use the compressed sound or not. And then, I have a long attack on there, short release on the compressor. And that typically, this setting for the Empress compressor typically works out very well for me in the entire setup. So that's what I would recommend. If you're going to use some compression, use it like how I'm using it there, where the attack of the sound gets to come through nice and clean, and it actually sustains the sound a little longer afterwards with the release, but not too much. A short release on it. So it basically gets in, gets out the way, essentially. You see that? You see that light coming on? Off, off, off. See how long it takes to come on, and then it just cuts right off. Off. So that definitely helps you out a tremendous amount. Lets the attack of your sound come through while not over compressing your sound in general. Even when you're using higher compression rates. All right. So that's all I'm going to do for today, guys. I definitely appreciate you guys hanging out with me on the different platforms over on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Shout out to all you guys. Hit the like button and subscribe and follow me wherever you are on different social media. I try to do this a few times a week, if not almost every day. And I typically start somewhere around 11, 12. So hit that notification button. It'll let you know when I'm going live. And if you hit that notification button, you won't miss none of the clips, because these are 2-hour live streams, 2 to 3 hours typically. Most people can't always hang around. So guess what I do? I chop them up into smaller clips that are easier for people to watch on the go. You still get your tips and tricks, but I don't have to make a separate short. So I appreciate y'all hanging out, watching the channel, supporting. It means the world to me. And thank you. Special shout out to all the Patreon subscribers. Thank you guys. All the people that purchase preset packs, all that stuff. Thank you guys. It means a lot to me that you guys support me and helps me always give you guys honest reviews, because you guys have helped me buy a lot of this gear, and it lets me get you the reviews really fast, as well as it lets me give you an honest review. If something doesn't work or it's not the best thing for a professional setup, I'm pretty much just going to tell you that, and I'm not really going to mince words. I don't do all that cold talk and stuff. No, it's plain. I say it plain and let you know what it is and what it ain't. So make sure you subscribe for these honest, straight to the point, and deep dives in the pedal. When I really do like a pedal, I spend hours and hours deep diving into the features, into the manuals, and giving you guys tips and tricks on it, on how to use it in various ways, such as things that I've done on the Enzo X, Mercury X, Future Impact. These things I've done a ton of episodes on because they're very in-depth pedals. So make sure you hit that like button on your way out and subscribe and all that good stuff. Oh, no. I did not mean to do that. Dang it. But all right, guys. So I'll catch you guys later. Y'all got me messing up on my stuff. Well, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great day. This has been another episode of All Bass Creations, Effects, Tutorials, Demos, and Review. I am the Bass Nagus. Follow me on all social media. Peace.